My sister kept forgetting things in my guest room after visits. Yesterday, a moving truck arrived with her few extra essentials, including a vanity, mini fridge, and her boyfriend. Hey friends! Got a sec? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe. It's quick for you, but it really means a lot to us. Alright, let's dive into today's story. Original post. I, 32M, need some perspective on a situation with my sister Camila, 34F, that's been developing over the past few months. I bought my first house last year, a modest 3-bedroom place in a quiet suburb about 40 minutes from where we grew up. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine, and after years of renting, having my own space has meant everything to me. The house has a master bedroom where I sleep, a home office that I use for my remote work as a software developer, and a guest room that I'd furnished simply. Just a bed, nightstand, and dresser I'd picked up secondhand. The plan was always to have a comfortable space for when friends or family visited. Camila started visiting more frequently after I moved in. At first, it was nice. She'd come over maybe once a month, usually staying for a weekend when she had meetings in the area for her MLM business. She sells essential oils and is always trying to expand her network. I was happy to have the company, and she seemed to appreciate having a free place to stay instead of paying for hotels. About 3 months ago, I noticed small changes in the guest room after one of her visits. She'd left behind a lavender diffuser on the nightstand, claiming she'd forgotten it. "Keep it there," she said when I texted her about it. "The room could use some aromatherapy. That paint color is so depressing." The walls were a neutral gray that I'd thought looked modern and clean. The next visit, she brought new pillowcases, purple ones with some sort of mandala pattern. "The white ones you had were so boring, James," she said, using that tone she's had since we were kids that suggested I couldn't possibly understand aesthetics. "These have better energy." I didn't think much of it. They were just pillowcases. Then came the curtains. She replaced my simple blinds with flowing lavender curtains during her next stay, not even mentioning it until I noticed them myself. "Oh, those blinds were barely functioning," she said, though they'd worked perfectly fine. "These curtains actually block the morning light properly." "You're welcome." Each visit brought more changes. A Himalayan salt lamp appeared on the dresser. The simple mirror I'd hung was replaced with an ornate one she claimed she'd found at an incredible price, and just had to get for the space. She started referring to it as the space instead of the guest room, which should have been my first real warning sign. 2 weeks ago, she visited again, this time bringing what looked like half of a home goods store with her. New bedding, a complete set in various shades of purple and pink. Wall art featuring motivational quotes in cursive fonts. A small bookshelf that she assembled while I was at work, filling it with her collection of self-help books and essential oil guides. An area rug that, admittedly, did tie the room together, but that wasn't the point. "Camila," I finally said, standing in the doorway as she arranged crystals on the windowsill. "What's going on here? This is a lot of stuff for a room you use once a month." She turned to me with this bright smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "I'm just making it more comfortable for when I stay here. You don't mind, do you? I mean, I'm the only one who uses this room anyway." That wasn't entirely true. My college friend Michael had visited 2 months ago, and he'd seemed bemused by the growing collection of throw pillows and the live, laugh, love sign that had materialized on the wall. But I hadn't pushed back because, well, she's my sister. We lost our dad 5 years ago, and since then, Mom has been very focused on family sticking together. Yesterday, everything escalated. Camila called to say she was coming for another visit this weekend, but would need to arrive Thursday evening instead of Friday. "I have some important network meetings all week," she explained. "Oh, and I'm bringing a few more things for the space. You'll love what I've done with the accent wall idea." "Accent wall?" I asked, feeling my stomach drop. "Just wait until you see the wallpaper samples I've picked out. The energy in that room is really coming together. It's becoming such a perfect sanctuary." After we hung up, I went to look at the guest room, really look at it. It didn't look like my guest room anymore. It looked like Camila's bedroom. Her clothes were in the dresser drawers. Her toiletries had colonized the guest bathroom. There was even a vision board on the back of the door covered in pictures of luxury cars and vacation destinations with 2024 goals, manifest, written across the top in glitter pen. I'm starting to feel like I'm being slowly invaded, but I don't know how to address this without causing major family drama. My mom already thinks I'm too rigid and need to be more family-oriented. Camila hasn't technically done anything wrong. She's just decorating? But something feels very off about this whole situation. Am I overreacting? How do I handle this without being the bad guy who won't let his sister make herself comfortable in the only room she uses anyway? Update 1, 2 weeks later. Well, things have escalated exactly as many of you predicted. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post with warnings about establishing boundaries. I wish I'd taken the advice more seriously before this weekend. Camila arrived Thursday evening as planned, but she wasn't alone. She'd hired a moving service, an actual moving service, to help her bring in what she called a few more things. I watched in stunned silence as two movers carried in a vanity table, a mini fridge, a clothing rack, and multiple boxes labeled with things like summer clothes, winter accessories, and business supplies. "What is all this?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level as they navigated a full-length mirror through my front door. "Oh, just some essentials," Camila said breezily, directing the movers toward the guest room, her space. "You know how it is with my business. I need to look professional for my video calls, and that vanity has perfect lighting. Plus, the mini fridge will be convenient for my meal prep. I'm doing this new alkaline diet that requires very specific timing." I followed her to the room, where the movers were already rearranging furniture to accommodate everything. "Camila, this is excessive. This is supposed to be a guest room, not a satellite office for your business." She paused in unwrapping what looked like an expensive ring light and gave me that look, the one she's perfected over the years that somehow makes me feel like I'm being unreasonable even when I'm not. "James, I don't understand why you're being so hostile. I'm here so often for business that it just makes sense to have some of my things here. Would you rather I drag suitcases back and forth every single time? That's not very environmental, you know." "You're here once a month," I pointed out. "Actually," she said, turning back to her unpacking, "about that. My business is really taking off in this area. You know Jennifer? From high school. She lives just 10 minutes from here and she's become one of my top distributors. We're building something really special with our team. I'll probably need to be here more often, maybe every other week. These next few months are crucial for reaching diamond status." I felt my eye twitch. Diamond status. In the 3 years she's been selling essential oils, she spent thousands more than she's ever made, but somehow every month is the month things turn around. "Camila, we need to talk about this," I said firmly. "This is my house. You can't just—" "Oh my God, there's Patricia!" she suddenly exclaimed, looking at her phone. "She's here for our strategy session. Can you let her in? We're going to be using the living room for our vision board workshop. You don't mind, right? Your office has a door, so we won't disturb your work." Before I could respond, she was pushing past me, leaving me standing in what used to be my guest room, now completely transformed into something that looked like a lifestyle blogger's bedroom. The movers were looking at me expectantly, holding an invoice. The strategy session turned into 8 women in my living room, cutting up magazines and talking loudly about their journeys and abundance mindsets until nearly midnight. I retreated to my office, but I could hear everything through the walls, including Camila giving a tour of her space to show how manifesting your environment was crucial for success. The next morning, I tried to have a serious conversation with her over coffee. "Camila, this isn't sustainable. You can't just move into my house." She laughed, actually laughed. "Move in? Don't be dramatic. I'm just optimizing my visits. You're always saying I should be more organized with my business. This is me being organized. By basically claiming a room in my house." "It's not like you're using it," she said, scrolling through her phone. "Oh, speaking of which, I gave Jennifer a key." I nearly spit out my coffee. "You gave someone a key to my house?" "Just the spare from under the fake rock. She might need to drop off inventory when I'm not here. Don't worry, she's very trustworthy. She was secretary of the Honor Society in high school, remember?" That was Friday. It's now Sunday evening, and Camila is still here. She mentioned something about staying through Tuesday for more crucial meetings. The mini fridge is humming loudly enough that I can hear it from the hallway. There are essential oil samples scattered across my kitchen counter. Jennifer has already texted me twice asking if she can swing by to pick up products from Camila's room. I found a lease agreement template on her laptop when she left it open on my kitchen table. It was for a studio apartment in the city, with a move-out date from 2 months ago that was crossed out. I'm starting to piece together why she's been visiting so much more frequently. I need to confront her properly, but she's already gotten our mom involved. Mom called yesterday to tell me how wonderful it was that I was supporting Camila's entrepreneurial journey, and that Dad would be so proud to see us working together like this. She even mentioned maybe coming to stay next month to see what Camila's done with the space. I feel like I'm being gaslit in my own home. Half my friends think I'm overreacting, saying it's just family being family. The other half are telling me to change the locks immediately. I don't know what to do, but I know this can't continue. I'm planning to have a come-to-Jesus talk with her Tuesday morning before she leaves. I'll update again after that conversation. Update 2, 1 month later. I need to start by saying that the conversation I planned never happened the way I intended. Tuesday morning came, and Camila had already left, at 5 a.m., leaving a note that said she had an early morning opportunity meeting and would be back soon for the things she was storing in her room. Her room. She called it her room in writing. Over the next 2 weeks, she came and went with increasing frequency. Sometimes I'd come home from grocery shopping to find her car in the driveway. Other times, I'd wake up to the sound of her essential oil diffuser running at full blast because she'd arrived late the night and let herself in with a spare key she'd had copied without telling me. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago. I arrived home from a 2-day work trip to find that she'd fully moved in. Not partially, not temporarily, fully moved in. Her entire apartment's worth of furniture was now crammed into the guest room and had spilled into the hallway. Her meditation cushions were in the living room. Her inventory had taken over half the garage. The guest bathroom was completely colonized with her skincare routine, and I counted 17 different products on the counter. But the worst part? Our mother was there, helping her hang curtains in the living room. "James," Mom said brightly when I walked in, as if this was completely normal. "Look how homey Camila is making everything. These curtains are so much warmer than those blinds you had." "Mom," I said slowly, setting down my bag. "What's going on here?" "Oh, Camila's lease was up, and it just didn't make sense for her to get another apartment when she's here so much anyway," Mom explained, as if this was a perfectly logical conclusion. "Plus, with her business growing, she needs stability." "You understand." Camila emerged from the kitchen, my kitchen, wearing an apron I didn't recognize, cooking with pans I definitely didn't own. "James." "Perfect timing. I'm making my signature quinoa bowl. You need to eat better. All that takeout is terrible for your chakras." "Camila," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. "You can't just move in without asking." She tilted her head with practiced confusion. "Move in? I thought we discussed this. I'm here so much for business that it's basically just formalizing what was already happening. Plus, look at all the improvements I've made. This place actually feels like a home now instead of a bachelor pad." "We never discussed you moving in. We never discussed any of this. You're being really negative right now," she said, turning back to the stove. "I don't think you realize how much I've invested in making that room comfortable. The vanity alone was $800. The rug was $300. I've put thousands into that space because you said I could make myself comfortable. I meant like, bringing your own pillow. Maybe some snacks. Not establishing residency." Mom intervened then, using her disappointed mother voice that still works on me even at 32. "James, family helps family. Your sister is working hard to build her business. Your father would be appalled at how you're treating her." The invocation of Dad was a low blow, and they both knew it. I retreated to my office and spent the evening researching tenant laws, eviction processes, and my rights as a homeowner. The problem was that Camila was smart. She'd been receiving mail here for 2 months. She had the key. She could claim she was a tenant, and evicting her would be a nightmare. The next morning, I tried a different approach. I sat her down and calmly explained that while I loved her, this arrangement wasn't working. I needed my space. I needed my privacy. I needed my guest room back for actual guests. Her response? She cried. Full-on sobbed about how hard she was working, how close she was to breakthrough success, how unsupportive everyone was of her dreams. She called 3 of her team members while crying, telling them she might have to leave the area because her brother didn't believe in her vision. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. Mom, our Aunt Linda, our cousin Jessica, even my high school friend Michael, who had somehow been dragged into this. Everyone was messaging me about how I needed to support family and stop being selfish with my space. It's been a month now since she fully moved in. She pays no rent, though she occasionally buys groceries, always weird health food stuff I don't eat. She hosts her team meetings in my living room twice a week. She's taken over the hall closet for her inventory. The house constantly smells like a mixture of different essential oils that gives me headaches. Last week, she mentioned that her friend Patricia was going through a divorce and might need a place to stay for just a few weeks. When I immediately said no, she accused me of being heartless and told our entire extended family that I wouldn't help a woman in crisis. I'm at my wit's end. I've consulted a lawyer, but the situation is complicated now that she's established residency. I could go through formal eviction proceedings, But that would take months and would definitely nuke my relationship with half my family. I'm considering selling the house just to force her out, but I love this house. I worked so hard for it. Why should I have to leave my own home? Update 3, 2 months later. I know it's been a while since my last update, and I've received hundreds of messages asking what happened. The truth is, things got worse before they got better, but I'm finally free, though at a cost I'm still processing. After my last post, I tried one more time to resolve things peacefully. I offered to help Camila find an apartment, even volunteering to pay her first month's rent and security deposit. Her response was to post on Facebook about how her heartless brother was trying to make her homeless during her season of growth. The post got over 200 reactions, mostly from her essential oil network and our extended family. The comments were brutal. I was called selfish, materialistic, and not the man our father raised. That last one stung. Our Aunt Patricia commented that she was disgusted by my lack of family values. Our cousin Robert shared the post with additional commentary about how family means nothing to some people. The situation in the house, meanwhile, had become unbearable. Camila had essentially taken over the common areas. Her morning meditation chants started at 5 a.m. Her team meetings had expanded to 3 times a week, sometimes with up to 12 people in my living room. She'd installed a ring light in the kitchen for her Cooking for Wellness Instagram videos. My home office was the only space that remained mine, and even that was under threat. She'd started making noise about how it would be perfect for her inventory storage. The breaking point came 6 weeks ago. I woke up on a Saturday to find a man I'd never seen before making breakfast in my kitchen. "Who are you?" I asked, standing there in my pajamas, thoroughly confused. "Oh, you must be James," he said cheerfully. "I'm Brandon, Camila's boyfriend. She said you'd be cool with me crashing here for a bit. Great place, man. Love what Camila's done with it." I found Camila in the backyard, leading a morning manifestation circle with 8 women, all holding crystals and facing the sun. "We need to talk." "Now," I said, not caring that I was interrupting her sacred practice. She excused herself with obvious annoyance. "What's so urgent that you had to disrupt my circle?" "Your boyfriend is in my kitchen." "Brandon's not my boyfriend," she said, rolling her eyes. "He's my abundance partner. We're manifesting success together. He's only staying for a few days while his apartment is being fumigated." That was it. That was my breaking point. I went inside, packed a bag, and drove to my friend Michael's apartment. From there, I enacted what I call the nuclear option. First, I called my lawyer and started formal eviction proceedings. Then, I did something that might seem petty but felt necessary. I started documenting everything. Every unauthorized change to the house. Every person she'd brought in. Every business meeting. Every early morning meditation session. I installed security cameras in the common areas, legal in my state as long as they're not in private spaces like bedrooms or bathrooms. Within a week, I had enough footage to create a compelling case. Camila running her business out of my home without permission or proper licensing. Random people coming and going at all hours. Brandon, who had definitely been there longer than a few days, essentially living rent-free in my house. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Jennifer, Camila's top distributor, reached out to me privately. She was getting out of the MLM after realizing she'd lost over $10,000 in 2 years. She told me that Camila had been lying about her success, that she was actually in significant debt, and that she'd been evicted from her apartment for non-payment 3 months before she started visiting me more frequently. Jennifer also told me something else. Camila had been telling her team that she was a co-owner of my house, that we'd invested together in the property, and that's why she could host meetings there. She'd been using my house as a way to project success and recruit new team members. Armed with this information, I confronted Camila again, this time with Michael and another friend, David, as witnesses. I told her she had 30 days to leave, as per the legal eviction notice. I told her I knew about the apartment eviction, the debt, and the lies she'd been telling about owning my house. She broke down, not the manipulative crying from before, but real, desperate tears. She admitted she was in over $40,000 of debt from the MLM. She'd lost her apartment, her car was about to be repossessed, and she'd been too proud to admit her failure to anyone, especially our mother who she'd been telling about her amazing success. For a moment, I felt bad for her. Then she said something that killed any sympathy I had. "But I've invested so much in this house. I made it livable. You owe me at least $5,000 for all the improvements I've made. Maybe we could work out a rental agreement where that counts toward." "Get out," I said quietly. 30 days, or I'll have the sheriff remove you." The family explosion was immediate and intense. Camila called our mother crying about being evicted. Mom called me, furious, saying I was abandoning my sister in her time of need. The extended family rallied around Camila, with several relatives offering to help her sue me for the improvements she'd made to her room. But I held firm. I shared the security footage of the constant disruptions. I shared screenshots of her posts claiming to own my house. I shared the legal eviction notice that stated she was a month-to-month tenant at will who had never paid rent. The tide began to turn when our Uncle Thomas, who's a real estate attorney, looked at everything and told the family that Camila had no legal leg to stand on. He also pointed out that I could probably sue her for running an unlicensed business out of my residential property. 28 days after the eviction notice, Camila finally left. She took everything she'd brought, leaving the guest room empty except for the original furniture I'd bought. The walls had been damaged by all the things she'd hung. The carpet was stained from essential oil spills. The bathroom had mold from her excessive use of aromatherapy diffusers. It cost me $3,000 to restore the room to its original state. But the real cost was higher. Half my extended family still isn't speaking to me. My mother barely talks to me, and when she does, it's with a coldness I've never experienced before. She says I chose property over family, and that Dad would be ashamed of me. Camila moved back home with Mom and has started posting about her journey through betrayal and how it's made her stronger. She's still selling essential oils, now using her triumph over adversity as a selling point. She hasn't acknowledged any wrongdoing or apologized for any of it. Final update, 4 months later. It's been 4 months since Camila left, and I wanted to give one last update because the aftermath has been unexpected. The house is mine again. Truly mine. The guest room is back to being a guest room, and I've actually had friends stay over without drama. The constant smell of essential oils has finally faded. I can use my living room whenever I want. It's peaceful, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel a bit empty sometimes. The family situation has evolved in ways I didn't expect. About 2 months after Camila left, our cousin Jessica reached out. She'd been one of the most vocal critics of my selfishness, but she wanted to apologize. Apparently, Camila had moved on to trying to establish herself in Jessica's guest house, and Jessica was beginning to understand what I'd dealt with. She lasted exactly 1 week before telling Camila to leave. This pattern repeated with our Aunt Linda, 3 days, our cousin Robert, 5 days, and finally back to our mother, ongoing. Each of them has, quietly and separately, reached out to say they understand now. Not apologies exactly, but acknowledgments. The most surprising development came last month. Jennifer, the former top distributor, sent me a message. She'd started a support group for people recovering from MLM debt and wanted to share something. She discovered that Camila had been telling potential recruits that she owned multiple properties, using photos of my house as proof of her success. Several people had joined her team specifically because they thought she was a successful property investor who could teach them to build wealth. Jennifer had also compiled evidence that Camila owed money to at least 15 people in her network, either borrowed funds for inventory that was never delivered or investment opportunities that never materialized. The total was close to $25,000. I struggled with what to do with this information. Part of me wanted to expose everything, to vindicate myself completely. But I realized that would be revenge, not justice. Instead, I simply forwarded the information to Uncle Thomas, the real estate attorney, with a note saying he might want to be aware in case anyone in the family considered lending Camila money. The effect was swift. Within a week, the family narrative had shifted completely. I wasn't the heartless brother who'd thrown his sister out. I was the patient brother who'd tolerated an impossible situation longer than anyone else would have. Mom called me last week. It was the first real conversation we'd had in months. "She's destroying my house," Mom said, sounding exhausted. "There are boxes everywhere. She's hosting meetings in my living room. She's convinced your father's old office needs to be converted into her manifestation studio." I don't know what to do. I could have been smug. I could have said, "I told you so." Instead, I just listened. "I'm sorry," she finally said. "I didn't understand. I thought you were being cruel, but she won't listen to anyone. She keeps saying she's on the verge of success, that we just need to believe in her vision. I found out she's been charging her team members to attend meetings in my home. My home, James. She's charging people to come to my home. I helped Mom establish boundaries. Firm move-out date. No business activities in the house. No overnight abundance partners. It's been a struggle, but Mom is holding firm, partly because she's seen what happens when you don't. As for Camila, she's still posting about her journey to success. Her latest venture involves cryptocurrency somehow tied to essential oils. I don't understand it and don't want to. She's blocked me on all social media, which is probably for the best. The house feels like mine again. I've slowly started inviting family over, the ones who've reached out, anyway. Uncle Thomas brought his kids over for a barbecue last weekend. Jessica stopped by with her husband to see the renovations I've done to the backyard. It's not the same as before, but it's something. I learned a lot from this experience. About boundaries. About family. About how easy it is to be manipulated when someone uses love and obligation as weapons. About how standing up for yourself can cost you relationships but save your sanity. The guest room remains a guest room. I've had 3 different friends stay there since everything happened, and each time, they've commented on how comfortable it is. Simple, clean, welcoming. Exactly what a guest room should be. Sometimes I wonder if I could have handled things differently. If I could have found a solution that didn't fracture the family. But then I remember coming home to strangers in my kitchen, meditation circles in my backyard, and the constant smell of lavender mixed with eucalyptus making my head pound. I did what I had to do. I saved my house. I saved my sanity. And despite what some family members might still think, I probably saved Camila from digging herself even deeper into debt by enabling her delusions of success. The fake rock with the spare key is gone. I've changed the locks twice. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that making yourself comfortable should never mean making someone else uncomfortable in their own home. That's my story. Thank you to everyone who followed along and offered support. Your messages kept me sane during the worst of it. And to anyone dealing with a similar situation, whether it's family, friends, or anyone else who's overstepping boundaries, remember that it's okay to protect your space. It's okay to say no. And it's definitely okay to choose your own peace over someone else's comfort. The house is quiet now. My kind of quiet. And that's exactly how I want it.